What is going on, people of America? Welcome back to The Talk with Angie and T. Today, we will be discussing the topic on good and evil in the story of Beowulf. Angie, start us off with some of the good that happened in the story.
Okay, so I'm going to start you off with one of our good questions. So, it asks, what aspects of the poem have a more contemporary feel than might be expected? So, when you think of contemporary, you think of more realistic. What is going on now? So, what we pulled from this is when the beginning of the poem started, you had Beowulf who got his soldiers and they got on a ship and they sailed to Heorot to help Hrothgar with the murderous monster that was taking over his country. So we could see that as him being, that was a contemporary thing that happened in the poem because that was really realistic, and that happened back in the days when you would have different countries coming in to help other countries in the war. So we see that as a realistic thing that actually happened.
Yeah, I like that example you just gave. That's really important. We still do to this day.
Okay, so another question we have is, where do characteristics of Beowulf appear in corporate America? Oh yeah, or on a college campus? Okay, so when you think of corporate America, you think of businessman. You think of someone who owns a multi-million-dollar business company. So when you think of that, you think of someone who has a lot of money. You think of someone who thinks they're better than someone who has that big head. You think of someone who who doesn't really care for the underdogs, who don't really consider them and only consider themselves. And when you think of the college campus, you can just see a regular college person who attends, just a student who has that high head, who thinks they're better than everyone, who thinks they're smarter than everyone, who thinks, oh, I got this much money and I was able to get this scholarship, so I'm better than you. But that's what we can pull from this, and that's what we that's the characteristics of Beowulf that we can take, because Beowulf, he is an arrogant person. He is a person who thinks highly of himself. So that's what we can take from that.
Yeah, so Beowulf is one of the selfish, arrogant ones, I guess, but a great superhero. So let's get into some of the evil that goes on in this text, you know? One of the questions asks, what parts of Anglo-Saxon society might Grendel represent? You know, Grendel was that monster who killed all of these men that were partying with Hrothgar, you know, celebrating. And he couldn't just stand the fact that they were celebrating so closely to his house. And he decided to go and kill them off for as many nights as he could until, you know, Beowulf shows up and kills them all. But, you know, Grendel, he kind of has like the representation of the devil, you know, because he does so many evil things, ungodly things, you know, killing. You know, he's a monster, you know. So that might represent the devil. You know, he could be a devil represented character in this story.
Yeah, I can also agree with that, because like you just notice that Grendel, he does a lot of evil things. Like, he does not care for other people. He only cares about himself. He feeds off of evil things. He feeds off of negative behavior. That is what boosts him to do like what he does. And it makes him happy when he eats these people. It makes him happy. It makes him, you know, it makes him happy when he see all those people that he is about to eat. So we can just infer that he can be a part of the devil, because he feels off of negative energy.
Another question one might have about this story, what might a modern day Beowulf look like? You know, I had to sit and think about this one, because when you think about Beowulf, you see him as this supernatural being. He has more strength than a human body could handle. He could breathe for so long underwater. He could fight these humongous monsters, and he do it with sometimes some effort, but little to no effort. So you would see him mostly as one of your modern day superheroes, like Superman, Iron Man, like the DC comics and the Marvel comics. Like, you wouldn't see him in Man or Woman Like Me, specifically like down to the strengths and the battles he's fought. You do have like your superheroes that aren't necessarily superheroes. They don't really have superpower, super strength, all these aspects of a superhero. But you do have like your doctors. Those are people, they save lives. You have firefighters, you have police officers who help to save lives. So you do have those kind of superheroes, yes. But in the aspect of looking at it like super strength, super sight, stuff like that, you wouldn't see that in a real person. You see more in your written stories and comics and novels, in a superhero rewritten.
Yeah, I agree with that, because it's just not possible for a human being to carry that much strength and to be able to do the things that Beowulf was able to do. We know that he is a human, but he's like a superhuman. Like, he was able to do things that no human could do.
Right.
So I just feel like Beowulf, he would be our modern day superhero, like Captain America. You see Captain America, he's a human. He's definitely a man, but he possesses like those supernatural strengths that no one else has. So that's what we can see Beowulf as, one of the comic superheroes.
Yeah, I like that. Give me some more questions on the good, Okay. You got another question on that?
Yes, let's see. Okay. So, is Beowulf himself completely good, or does he have flaws? Now, when you think about this, everyone has flaws. Like, what person doesn't have flaws? Like, if you think you have no flaws, then I don't know what to tell you, because everyone has flaws.
Right,
but
right.
Beowulf, you can't see Beowulf as good, because what drives him is him wanting to do for humanity. Like, he does all this for the good of humanity. He gets rid of Grendel for Heorot, the country. He does that because their country was in terror of this monster, and they were panicking because they didn't know what to do, because they had a terrorizing monster that would come and feast on them. So like Beowulf, he was like the savior for them. So I personally think that Beowulf was good. He did the acts for the greater good of humanity, and not one time did you see him fight a human being. He only fought the evilness that occurred in the world. So he drove out all of the evilness and all the negative energy in the world. So that's why we can infer that he is good.
Right. Like, that was his purpose to be here. He fought like that was his purpose, to fight for the greater good. I understand that. So another question. This might be our last question. We might need to wrap it up. Says, God plays an extremely important role in Beowulf. Listen to me now. As do supernatural demons and monsters. But there's no single focus of evil, such as the devil mentioned in the epic. Why do you think the poet chose to make the conflict between good and evil somewhat one-sided? Now, let me tap in that question for a second. I had to really think about this one, because, you do have God, and every time someone mentions God, they kind of have to draw in the devil to get you more on God's side. But I see it as, in order to allow the main focus, if the poet really wanted you to focus mostly on God, mainly on God, the good going on in the story. That's why he has this character Beowulf fighting for the greater good, because he wants you to see that there are good people, you know, understand that there are good people in this world. So he did this, I feel, the poet did this to allow the main focus to be solely on God and following God, you know, lead people in the right direction and not focus so much on the bad. You know, he was trying to show that the devil and evilness and things of that aspect, it doesn't really matter. That God and goodness and being a good person is the main purpose, the main idea here. You feel me?
Okay, so what I take from this question is, so we know that this story was written over and over and over again by different people, and we also know that the monks, they were the ones who rewrote it. And monks are like Christian believers, so they want to bring more ideas of God solely to the epic, because in the epic it was more directed towards the evil, but then they deleted some stuff, they took some stuff out, and then they added some more stuff about, like, they added more stuff about God. So I feel like their purpose in doing that was to bring people closer to God. They wanted more people to see that, yes, there is some evil, but with that one person, they can drive it out. They can get rid of it, just like Beowulf did. He drove out the negative, the evil energy that was in the world, and he was able to overcome that. And I feel like the monks, they did this because they wanted people to see that God, he can come in and it can be one person. It can just be one person, and they can come in and they can erase all of that negative, all that evilness out of the world.
I like that.
So that's what I took from it.
So, well, I guess we'll wrap this up. This is the end of our talk show. Thanks for watching. And do you have anything you want to say to her?
Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed Angie and Tea Time.
All right. Bye.